Hey, 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 it's time for something different. It's time to get serious, but not too serious. From today on, I'm going to be starting a new series called How Much Time Is That Bastard Getting? Where I analyze a character's actions from a legal perspective and determine how much prison time they would realistically get if this wasn't just a movie. And the first movie we're going to be looking at here is 1993's Falling Down. We'll be analyzing the actions of the character DFENS, named after his license plate because he doesn't have an actual name in this movie. I'm not going to be showing any footage from the actual movie due to YouTube's copy wrong bots potentially flagging my video, even though this is obviously fair use. So what I'm going to do instead is take stills from the movie. I'll reverse most of them except when there's text on screen that needs to be read. I'll crop them, I'll color correct them, I'll fuck with them. I'll do what I have to do to prevent the video from being deleted. I have two more caveats before we start the video. Number one is, I am not a legal expert. I have never stepped foot into a courtroom, and I do not plan on doing so anytime in the foreseeable future. So it's likely that I'm going to get some things wrong in this video, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So if I make any mistakes, or forget to include something that should have been included, leave a comment. Tell me where I got it wrong. I'll try to do better next time. My second caveat is that I'm going to be analyzing the laws as they actually existed in 1993, because that's the year this movie was made, and that's the year it takes place in as well. This is going to have some interesting implications. For example, California's Use a Gun and You're Done law wasn't enacted until 1998, which is very lucky for Mr. DFENS. So without further ado, let's get on to the analysis. As we all know, at the end of Falling Down, DFENS gets shot and killed by Detective Baldy. But what if that didn't happen? What if he surrendered? What charges would he be looking at? We're going to look at all of his crimes, and we're going to find out in the end. What sentence will he receive? The very first crime DFENS commits is a misdemeanor under California's Vehicle Code. For this crime of abandoning his vehicle, DFENS is going to get a fine of $100. And his vehicle is going to be impounded. The next crime he commits is vandalism in this Korean guy's store. And we're going to add a hate crime enhancement to the charge because DFENS attacked this guy simply for being Korean and not knowing how to speak English. We'll slap him with a felony conviction and a $1,000 fine. But of course it doesn't stop there. Next he beats the shit out of the shopkeeper. We'll charge this as battery. It could be aggravated battery since DFENS kicks the shopkeeper in the stomach a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's not that injured. He can still walk into the police station. He doesn't have any visible wounds on him. So we'll just charge it as simple battery. Again, it's a felony, hate crime. We'll give him 3 months in jail. That is his first term of imprisonment, but it won't be his last, that's for sure. In this next scene, there's no basis for any charges. He's defending himself from these gangsters. Even if he is trespassing on their property, they don't have a right to threaten him at knife point and rob him. So he's well within his rights to defend himself there, especially since he agreed to leave their property and they actually prevented him from doing so. Anyways, next scene. After being the target of a drive-by shooting, he commits felony assault with a firearm for shooting this guy in the leg. And he can't really claim self-defense here because their car has already crashed. This guy is no longer any threat to him. DFENS could have just walked away. So for this crime, he'll be sentenced to 3 years in state prison. I'm assuming that the guy that got shot in the leg doesn't die, because there's no evidence either way, whether he lives or dies. But yeah, that brings us to the next crime, which is possession of firearms without a license, as well as various completely illegal, fully automatic firearms. It's unclear exactly how many guns he has in that gym bag of his, but he does use 4 or 5 different weapons during the course of the movie. So for all of those firearms possession charges, let's tack on 8 years in state prison. Next, DFENS goes to McDonald's, where he commits assault with a firearm again against all of these people, and would also be charged with brandishing a weapon in front of them. Let's add 3 and 2 years respectively for both of those charges. While still in the McDonald's, he performs a negligent discharge with a fully automatic Tech 9, emptying the entire magazine. People inside the restaurant easily could have been injured or killed if he had not been aiming at the ceiling. So we're going to tack on 3 extra years. in state prison for this negligent discharge offense. Alrighty, next up, he goes full auto with a Mac 10 and destroys a phone booth. Those bullets definitely could have struck an innocent bystander behind the phone booth. Now, obviously, that didn't happen, but the prosecutor is going to take that into account, and so is the judge. We're going to tack on another vandalism charge with a $1,000 fine, and due to this grossly negligent discharge, he will receive 5 more years in prison, along with a $5,000 fine. That's got to sting. Next up, DFENS kills a Nazi who runs a military surplus store. This is a really tough one because he does have some self-defense argument, since he kind of was about to be raped in the ass by this guy. However, shooting a man multiple times after he's already on the ground and then stuffing his corpse into a display case does not help a person's self-defense claim. On the other hand, the guy who died was an anti-government Nazi, and the government isn't going to have that much sympathy for him. So let's give DFENS a 7-year prison term for voluntary manslaughter. Next, DFENS takes a disposable AT-4 rocket launcher, the simple possession of which will earn him 4 years in state prison. And because he uses this weapon, which is classified as a destructive device under California law, we'll have to give him another 7 years in state prison. After this, he trespasses onto a private country club golf course. Let's give him 3 months in jail and a $500 fine for that. What's more important than the trespassing is the fact that he causes an old man to have a heart attack. And even if technically the old fart died from natural causes, it doesn't matter because under California's law, that is considered a felony murder because somebody died while DFENS was committing multiple felonies. He also brandishes his weapon at the old guy. Let's give him a year in jail for that. But more importantly, for the felony murder charge, he will be sentenced to 15 years to life, which is basically a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 15 years, but there's no guarantee of that. He breaks into some rich plastic surgeon's property. Let's give him a $500 fine for that. And then he kind of kidnaps a family, but since he doesn't move them very far, it's questionable whether he would actually be found guilty of kidnapping or not. I'm going to be lenient here and say that he'll be acquitted. DFENS's final crime is shooting the partner of Detective Baldy. He shoots her in the chest and very well could have killed her. She's in very bad shape at the end of the movie. DFENS will be convicted of attempted murder of a police officer and receive a penalty of life in prison with the possibility of parole. Will he actually get parole is the question, and the answer is probably not. Almost certainly not. When you add up all of these charges, it's very clear that even if he was sentenced concurrently and not consecutively, the chances of him ever seeing the light of day outside of a prison fence again is basically slim to none. In other words, he's fucked. And did you really expect anything else? Maybe it's for the best that he committed suicide by cop on that pier, because if he survived, he'd be getting fucked in the ass in prison. Anyways, if you have more suggestions for movies for me to analyze, or you think I fucked something up, or got it wrong, leave a comment. But for now, toodles!